planning to move to Katy in 2026, do yourself a favor. Throw away that old Katy map. Seriously, Katy, you think you know is changing so fast, and it'll give you whiplash, honestly. We're right in the middle of a massive glow up. I'm talking about $400 million developments like the Texas Heritage Marketplace, shifting the whole center of gravity west. A totally new way of schooling with launch of Legacy Virtual High and highway expansions on Grand Parkway that can turn a quick drive into a nightmare if you pick the wrong street, of course. So if you're buying a home based on the 2024 advice, you're basically signing up to live in a construction zone for the next 3 years. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 huge shifts happening right now so you don't get blindsided. Hi, I'm Natasha Carroll with Natasha Carroll Realty, and welcome back to my channel. I help families and professionals relocate to the greater Houston area every single day. And I just don't show you pretty houses. I tell you the truth about what it's actually like to live here. The good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. So if you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and click the bell, of course. We release new videos every week to help you make informed, smart decisions as soon as possible. So let's just dive right into the Katy changes that's happening. Because Katy, Texas is changing, we need to really talk about it. First, and this is probably the most critical thing of your daily sanity, we need to talk about the I-10 expansion and the managed lanes project. For years, people have moved to Katy because yes, I-10 is huge, but it moved. Well, buckle up. There are several Texas Departments of Transportation improvement projects affecting the I-10 corridor and, of course, its connecting highways. These include managed lane upgrades and drainage improvements closer to downtown Houston, as well as widening project on the Grand Parkway. While these projects are designed to improve long-term traffic flow, they can cause intermittent slowdowns, lane shifts, and feeder road disruptions over the next few years. This isn't just a minor pothole fix. This is a major infrastructure overhaul to evaluate lanes and improve the drainage, specifically impacting the stretch moving towards the inner loop, of course. So if you're buying a home in 2026 and you plan to commute to downtown Houston or the medical center 5 days a week, you need to be very, very strategic. During the peak hours, commute times can feel less predictable, especially while construction projects are active and in the middle of everything. You need to look at neighborhoods that give you easy access to West Park Tollway or the Grand Parkway 99 as possible alternatives. If you buy deep in a community where I-10 is your only exit, you're going to feel this pain every single morning. This construction is temporary, but temporary in highway terms, it actually means a few years. So you must plan accordingly, of course. Number 2 is a project we've been hearing about forever, but in 2026, it's finally looking different. The Katy Boardwalk District. Situated right near Katy Mills Mall, this was pitched as a high-density, mixed-use luxury zone. But here is the update. Zoning changes approved by Katy City Council last year have shifted the residential plan. Instead of it just being brownstones and the high-density villas, we're now seeing approvals for more single-family homes on, of course, smaller lots, which is very important to some residents. Developers are realizing that people moving here still want that house feel, even in an urban district. There are long-term plans for a hotel, conference center within the district, but those elements are still in the planning and development phases. rather than the guaranteed 2026 openings, of course. Now, this changes the vibe of the East Katy near the mall. It's moving from pure retail / tourist spot to a legitimate walkable residential hub. So if you want walkability, which is rare in the suburbs, keep your eye on this district. It's going to be one of a few places in Katy where you can walk to dinner, a movie, and a park without touching your car keys. That is absolutely amazing. When you think about this, bringing more to the community and to the suburbs is something every resident is looking for. So we have a tougher commute on the highway, but a more walkable lifestyle popping up near the mall. You can start to see how Katy is becoming a place of trade-offs. You have to pick your hard-nosed and your absolute, I would say, must-haves. And I know navigating construction zones as well as zoning changes, it can feel overwhelming when you're moving from out of state, of course. But that's exactly why I created my free location guide. It's not just any guide, it breaks down the neighborhoods, opportunities, activities, and other essential information to get you started. It's completely free. I'll put it in the link description below. Check it out after this video. It'll save you hundreds of hours of research. But now let's talk about where all the new shopping is going, because it's not where you think, of course. Point number 3 is the center of gravity for shopping is moving west. For the longest time, if you lived in Fulshire or for West Katy, you had to drive at least 20 minutes back to Katy Mills or Elyson and Sunterra for big shopping trips. That is going to be over. The Texas Heritage Marketplace is a massive 165-acre project near I-10 and the Texas Heritage Parkway that broke ground recently, and we're expecting tenants to start opening doors throughout 2026. We're talking about 7,500,000 plus square feet of retail, dining, and of course, entertainment. It validates the Westward expansion. If you're looking at homes in Jordan Ranch, Cross Creek West, or Fallbrook, you are no longer outside in the sticks, as most people would say. You're about to have your own Elyson and Sunterra style hub right next door. This is going to drive property values up in those western communities because convenience always drives and guides price. Number 4 is the big one for families, and it's happening right now. Katy ISD, which is the #1 reason most of you move here, is launching Legacy Virtual High School in the fall of 2026. Could you believe it? Another high school. Now, I know what you've been thinking. Natasha, I don't want Zoom school, but this isn't pandemic learning. This is a fully credited, strategic high school option for students who travel, high-level athletes, or kids who just thrive better outside of a 3,000 student campus. It shows that Katy, believe it or not, they're innovating. They aren't just building more massive buildings, they're creating options. For a relocation family, this gives you flexibility. So if you have a child heavily involved in competitive sports or arts, you can live in Katy and get the Katy ISD tax benefits and diploma, but have a schedule that actually works for your lifestyle. It is a huge value add to the district. Of course, there will be some pros and cons, but Katy is definitely innovating and leading the way. And finally, change number 5. This is probably the climax of the video because it depicts where the smart money is going. We're gonna call it the new Katy is moving north, of course. Historically, everyone wanted to be south of I-10 and Cinco Ranch. And Cinco is beautiful, don't get me wrong. But communities like Elyson and Sunterra are aggressively expanding in 2026. Elyson just launched, I would say, a new phase and a massive new welcome center. Sunterra, it's bringing that lagoon life to reality. These aren't just subdivisions. They're kind of cities within the cities, which is really, really amazing. Because south of Katy is all built out. The inventory there is older, some of it requires renovation, and is priced at a premium. North Katy, Elyson, Sunterra area is where you get incentives, the brand new warranties, and the modern plans, of course. In 2026, we're seeing a gap between the north and the south. It's closing in, believe it or not. The amenities in the north are arguably coming better than the older established neighborhoods. But if you want appreciation potential, you need to look where the dirt is still moving. And right now, that is north and west. Now, when we think about that, we have to always consider it's not just about where you live, but where you feel the most comfortable. The 2026 landscape shows that Katy is no longer just a quiet suburb, but it's evolving into a self-sustaining powerhouse city. The growth is characterized by heavy construction on a massive I-10, requiring careful commute planning, while the boardwalk finally transitions into a walkable residential reality. Retail is expanding to the west via, I would say, the Texas Heritage Marketplace, and Katy ISD, they're introducing virtual flexibility through the Legacy High. Meanwhile, the north, specifically Elyson and Sunterra areas, serves as the primary hub for new inventory and aggressive development. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, Natasha, I love the growth, but I don't know which specific neighborhoods to avoid the construction, and it hits my budget, that is where we come in, of course. My team and I help hundreds of people just like you navigate this market without the stress. But if you want to connect with me directly to start your home search or just get more information, put it in the description box below. You can text, you can email me, whatever works for you. And don't forget to grab our free relocation guide. I mentioned it, it has maps, school ratings, the cost of living breakdown, everything that you would need to help you get started. Now, if you're just curious about other videos, check out this video on the best neighborhoods to live in Houston, as well as if you're considering just having any questions at all, don't hesitate to pick up the phone. I'm Natasha Carroll. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you, of course, on the next video.